Ladles and jelly spoons, welcome back to Badgerworks. Today, this. Yes, it's that time of year again. Aldi have got the Airfix starter sets back in. So I thought I would do something that's quite a few people have asked about, actually. It's something that comes up quite a lot, especially with these starter kits. And people say, you know, can you do a build just using like brushes and things? So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do this on a real budget. So we're going to build this out of the box, no aftermarket stuff. We're only going to use the paints that are in the box. We're going to try and use the glue that's in the box. That might be fun. We are going to cheat a little bit. It's not really cheating, but we're going to do... let me show you. So I bought a set of brushes here. These came from the works and cost a princely sum of £3. And these brush sets are actually really good. You get 9 brushes. There's a fan, there's a few points, there's a couple of flats, there's a deer's foot and a couple of filberts. They're quite nice brushes and they're very cheap, so we'll use those. Because frankly, the brush that comes with it, it's okay, it's a good brush, but it's not really ideal to do the whole model. Whereas this, you know, you've got everything in there you could want. And just for a bit of fun, I've got these as well. These are actually makeup sets from the pound shop, and I might use these to do some weathering on it, just for the bit of fun, really. So these are £1 each, obviously. The brushes were £3, so that's a fiver, and then the model was £4.99. So this whole lot comes to the princely sum of £9.99 new pence. So I don't think that's particularly expensive, and obviously this stuff, you know, you can reuse all of this over and over again, so we'll get a lot of use out of that. The other thing I might use is this. This is a high coat grey primer, rattle can. This is really good for models. It's also very good for miniatures. It actually goes on really well and gives you a really nice base for your paint, especially if you're brush painting, because trying to put acrylic paint straight onto plastic, not a good idea. So we'll probably have a go with that as well. These come from the range, or you can get them on eBay or Amazon. Or no, I get these from the range. The primers are usually about £4 or £5 a tin. Sometimes they have it on offer. And again, you can do dozens of models with a can this size, so we'll use that. So right, let's crack this box open and see what we've got. Right, so here are our paints and glue. This is normally the point where I say we're not going to use those, but actually today we are, so we'll be using those. Let's have a look at the actual... So there's the brush. It's a size 2 Humbrol pointed. As I say, they're good little brushes. It's just trying to paint the whole thing with that is going to be, yeah. So we'll probably use that, but we'll put it to one side for now. The kit itself, we've built these before, these starter sets, and these are actually quite nice little models. They're quite well detailed, and yeah, they're nice little models. And obviously we have the instructions, which again are fairly self-explanatory for a kit like this. They have actually started doing them kind of in colour. They have colour bits on them now. They used to be all black and white, but the actual instructions themselves are all black and white. But I say it's fairly basic, so we'll need those in a minute. We've got the decals, which we will put on, obviously. And I'm going to say this before we even start, because I've built a couple of these before, and there's always people moaning that I put the decals on wrong. Okay, they're at an angle. Okay, it's on the box. Deal with it. Anyway, I thought I'd get that out of the way before we started. So we've obviously got our paint scheme on the back here, and they basically only give you the 3 main colours and black. So we have this kind of a cream colour for the underside, and then the brown and the green for the top, and then black to do the prop, and whatnot. So, but that's not to say that we can't mix these colours to get different shades. So, anyway, let's start putting this thing together and see how we get on. Okay, so I have just given this both frames a quick lick over with the grey primer, just to kind of give us a head start. And what I'm going to do is start, as we normally do, with the cockpit. So normally what I would do at this point is spray obviously the inside of it, assemble the cockpit and spray that. Now obviously I can't really do that, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a start, and I am going to use, you'll notice I'm using my clippers here, and I am going to use some of my normal tools like my knives and whatnot, basically because I can. You know, we're not living in the dark ages here. But we're going to have to think about how we're going to put this cockpit together, and I don't think it's going to be too bad. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to assemble the cockpit in sort of like two large pieces so that I can paint it and then stick it together and then put it in, I think is going to be the best way. So I'll cut these bits off, I'll put together the bits I'm going to, and then I'll show you what we're going to do next. I'm not putting the pilot in, by the way. Right, so I must say actually there's quite a lot of flash on this, which is unusual for these starter kits, but then I suppose the moulds are starting to get on a bit. I mean, the date on this is 2010, so the moulds are like 10 years old. Okay, now one thing I want to do with this, which is a bit different, I want to have the cockpit open. So what I'm going to do before I carry on is I'm going to cut the door off, and then we can paint that separately. So I'm going to use my razor saw. Now you could do this with a a knife. It's just a lot easier doing it with this. And I'm just going to cut down the side of the door like that, and then cut down this side, and then cut the bottom of it across this panel line. And that should now come out like that. There we go. Right, I'll clean that up with a knife a little bit. That'll be fine. Right, so what I've just done is I cut the door out, as you saw, and then I've just shaved the back of it down a bit so that it sits a bit flatter on the side of the fuselage, because obviously on this it's not designed to be cut out, and the plastic's quite thick. So by just shaving it down, it means it doesn't stick out quite so far. But what we can do now is get on with and start painting the thing. So we need some paint and things. In fact, I think it'd probably make more sense to glue some of this together first. Actually, while we're on the subject of cheap, instead of going out and buying a hugely expensive pair of magnifiers, these reading glasses from the pound shop, 0.350 or 3.50 I should say, and these make really good magnifiers. So yeah, before you rush out and spend, you know, 20-30 pounds on a set of Gucci magnifiers, these work just as well. Okay, so I think we'll put the oxygen tank in. The trouble is with using this glue, and this is going to be fun, is that normally what you do is you put the pieces together with the thin glues. Whoop, that's and then you put the glue on and it sticks it together. Whereas with this, it's more the other way around. You have to put the glue on first, and then put the pieces together, which makes it a lot trickier. But never mind. Right, that'll do for that. Okay, now that should fit in there like that. See, normally what I would do is I would push these parts together like that and then put some glue on it and it would soak into the joint. Whereas now what I've got to do is put some glue on it and then put it together. And this glue is, yeah. Oh, don't all come out. Yeah. Oh my word. Oh, this is going to be... Oh, I'm going to have to find something to put this glue in because it's going to go everywhere. It seems like I've got a big blob of glue on there and this... I'm doing this for you people, I hope you realise that. Oh. Oh God, this takes me right back to my childhood. This does, big blobs of glue everywhere. Right, okay, that's that. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Right, this should help. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some glue on there, like that. And then a cocktail stick. And we'll apply it with that, and I think that'll be a lot better idea than trying to squeeze it out of the tube, because that's just going to go everywhere. Right, okay, let's get the seat on. Oh, get on there. Put that bit of glue on there, and then we'll put that in there like that. Right, now we're getting somewhere. So now I've got to wait for this to dry and then we can start painting it. Right, so let's get on painting the inside of this cockpit. So the thing is, what I really want is a cockpit green, and they don't give you a cockpit green. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this off-white and this dark green together, a little bit of each, and see how we get on with that. Oh, if I can get these open without them going everywhere. Oh, blimey, there's not a lot of paint in there. Pot's only half full. Oh. So is that one. Oh, that's not very good. I have got my my wet palette here, which I'm going to use to mix the paint on. This paint is really thick. The green, this dark green, look at it. It's like tar. We need some more of the white in there. Probably quite a lot of it. Probably would have been better to have just put a little tiny bit of the green in with the white rather than the other way around. It's not great, but it'll do. Right, let's where are my glasses? Let's see what this goes on like. Oh, that's not too bad. That's not bad at all, actually. So it actually goes on fairly well. This is giving me a little bit of confidence with this, I think, because I thought that painting the, you know, like the wings and everything was going to be an absolute nightmare, but I actually, now having done this, I think it's the coverage actually isn't bad. I think this bit here is going to be slightly awkward because obviously there's no primer on it, but we might have to give that a couple of coats. But it's not too bad. The trick is not to put it on too thick, because you can always let it dry and then go back and give it another coat, but if you put it on too thick it tends to start dragging and you end up with a big mess. Right, this is going to be fun. So I'm going to do the whole bit of this green and then I'll go back in and touch a few bits up with some other colours. Well, I'll say some other colours with another colour probably. Right, now there's a couple of other bits I want to do as well. I want to do the wheel wells on the wings, because obviously we're going to have the undercarriage down. So we'll do the inside of these wheel wells as well. I'll do the actual undercarriage struts with the white, because that's what colour it lists in the instructions, but for the actual wheel wells I'll do them with this. I must say though, this paint is going on quite nicely. I'd like to say it's pleasantly surprising how well it's covering. How much of that is down to the primer, I don't know, but it's certainly going on well. So I think we should be alright. Right, so that's the wings and whatnot done. Do I need to do anything else with this colour? Need to do the inside of that door. Let's stick that on something. Nearly forgot a bit. Right. So now I think we need to do some details on the inside. Right, so I've just assembled half of the cockpit. Oh, stringy bits of glue everywhere. And what I'm going to do, just before I go any further, and try and get some of these stringy bits off, is I'm going to use some of the some of this white, off-white, whatever it is, and I've thinned it right down, and I'm just going to use it just to add some scratches and things on the seat and whatnot. And what I'll do is I'll put them on and then I'll go back in and kind of wipe them off. Put some on the door frame as well. There we go, just to give it a bit of a because obviously we don't have any silver to do any any scratches or anything. So right, now I'll let this dry for a few minutes, and then we'll put the instrument panel decal on. Okay, let's see if we can get this decal to go on for the cockpit. Now normally obviously I'd use I'd have a gloss coat on there and I'd use decal setter and all this kind of stuff, but not this time. Just a little bit of warm water. Oh, he says, dropping it. And wing and a prayer, I think, is the appropriate phrase. So let's see if we can get that in. And get it to actually go where we want it to. Oh dear. It just doesn't want to move. Okay, I think that's somewhere near where it wants to be. Alright, that doesn't look too bad, does it? So I think what we can do now is put the fuselage together. I'm not going to put the prop in yet. I'll put that on last and I'll just glue it on, because trying to paint around that is going to be an absolute nightmare. So let's glue the fuselage together. Right, this is going to be the really fun bit, because again, normally I'd put it together and glue it as I'm going along, and I think this time it's not going to. I just realised that cap's got a big crack in it, look. Blimey. That's useful. Right. Let's see how we get on this time. So we'll start at the front and work our way back, I think. Oh. Oh, this is going to go everywhere. Oh, this is going to be awful. Oh. Right, let's see how we do. Okay, let's get some clamps. Right, let's see if we can get some. In here. The trouble is with this glue is it's designed to melt the plastic, and so if you get it anywhere you don't want it, it just melts the whole thing. So that's what we want to try and avoid. See, I think I had this trouble with this before. There's one of these holes, one of the pins that doesn't actually fit properly, and it stops the back of it from going together. So I think I need to get in there and cut that off. Right. I'm going to leave that now until it's well and truly dry. I don't want to muck about with that anymore. Let's put the wings together. Oh dear, this is ridiculous trying to do. I should have cheated a bit more and just used my normal glue, but it's alright. Right, that goes on there like that. Right, we'll get the other one on and then we'll leave those to dry as well. Oh. Right, so I've got the wings and everything glued on, and what I've done, I don't know if you can see what I've done there, but basically because some of the seams weren't very level, one of the things I find quite easy, especially if you're not using filler, which we're not on this because that costs money, what you can do is just take the flat of your knife and just scrape it across the joint like that, and it will just flatten it out. So I've done that all the way down. I've done it along the fronts of the wings, the underside, and it basically just helps tidy up those seams. And obviously, when we paint it, they'll disappear, or ish. So that's that. I'm just going to put the tail on, or the tail, the rudder and the elevators and whatnot, if I can find them. What have I done with them? Dry fitting these pieces first to make sure they fit, which they do reasonably well. Right, let's glue those on. The main wings, I have to say, needed quite a lot of coaxing to to get into place. There was quite a lot of material had to be sort of shaved off to make them actually fit, which was a nuisance, but it's one of those things. The trouble is with some of these starter kits, some of them are really good and others are less than ideal. Right. Okay. Right, just pop that in there. The trouble is with doing this is it's very easy to put too much glue on and then it all just comes squirting out. So you have to be a little bit careful. I think doing it with the cocktail stick was actually a good idea. Right. Make sure they're level, which they are. Now we'll put a bit on the top here and up the back of here, and put the rudder on like that. That's straight. Right, okay, now we can leave that to dry for a bit, and I think after that we've got some bits to go on the underside. And then I think we can start painting it. Okay, while that's all drying, what I'm going to do, because like I said, I want the cockpit open, so I'm going to cut the canopy into 3 pieces, which is something I have done before on these, and it's actually not as scary as you might as you might think. Basically, it's a case of cutting down the back here and then cutting across the front. I think it might be easier to do this cut first. The trouble with doing this is actually holding the thing still while you cut it. Right, nearly there. Right, let's get that off. I need to clean it up a little touch, but that'll be alright. And now I want to cut straight down the back of this. The thing is here is you need to kind of grip it tightly, but at the same time you don't want to squeeze it too tight, or it'll collapse and snap, which is really not what I want at all. There we go. Right. It's not the cleanest cut in the world, but We'll do for what we're doing. Knife. And of course the really fun bit is going to be painting this cockpit with a... Oh, I think I've cracked it. Oh, look. You see that? I've blooming cracked it. Oh, it'll be alright. Right, let's trim this down, make it okay. That's what I said about squeezing it too tight, you see. If you're not careful, it cracks. But I think we'll be alright. Alright, I think that'll do us. I'm not going to put the canopy on yet, but I just wanted to get it cut. Right, I think what I'm going to do actually, I've just had an idea. Because I've got the cockpit open, I think I'm going to make some seat belts out of this masking tape. This is 1mm masking tape, so I'll just cut a little bit of this off and use it to make some seat belts. So what we'll do is we'll just get these couple of bits and just cross them at the back like that. Right, what we'll do is just get a little drop of that and just put it over there like that, and that should hopefully stick those two together without sticking them to the cutting mat. Right, I'll just stick those together like that. A little bit of paint like that, and then we can try and get it into there. That'll be fun. There we go. That doesn't look too bad, does it? Just adds a certain what's it to the whole thing. I suppose we really ought to do a couple of lap belts, hadn't we? Oh God, I've really let myself in for it here, haven't I? Let's just try and get that to stick down the side of the seat. There we go. Oh, dark in there, but there you go. Hopefully you can see that. I think it looks alright, doesn't it? Right, onwards. Okay, so I'm now putting the undercarriage on. And some of the bits on the bottom of the aircraft. Oh dear, it's funny, like putting bits on by, like, you know, daubing them into the glue. It just makes me feel like such a little kid, because that's what you used to do back in the day. You'd like put some glue on a bit of paper and you just daub the parts into it and stick them on. Oh dear. Right, let's make sure they're somewhere near straight. Yeah, they're alright. Right, okay, now we need this bit here. Oh, it's awful trying to do this with this glue. I think honestly this is the worst part of doing this, is just trying to do it with this glue. What I would say to anybody doing this or thinking of doing this, go to a hobby shop, go to Hobbycraft or somewhere like that, and try and get some decent glue, because it will make life so much easier. It really will make life much easier. I'd actually forgotten how awkward it is trying to put a model together with this sort of glue. Yeah. I really don't understand as well why they don't mould this as one piece. Why they mould that as two pieces. A bit of a mystery to me, I must say. Never mind. Right, now we want this. Oh, I should have put this on before I put the undercarriage on. Right, there we go. That goes on there. Now we've also got this piece to go on, but I think what I'm going to do is I might paint the inside of that black first. Although actually it's... yeah, I'm going to paint the inside of that black first, I think. So we'll leave that for a minute. Okay, so what else do we need? Oh, actually, I might as well put this on so that I can knock it off 23 times before we're finished. Alright. That's that. That's that. Oh, the rear wheel. Right, there we go. So now we'll leave that to dry, and then we can flip it over and do the top of it. So what I've done now is I just masked off the canopy and whatnot, and I've touched up the primer, and what I'm going to do is start painting the underside. So I've got the relevant colour here, the off-white, and let's see how we get on with this. So I'm going to use the wet palette because I think it will help us get better coverage. It might work straight out of the pot, but I think it's going to need... I think the palette will help. So what I'm doing, the reason I'm doing the underside first is because, especially with brush painting, it helps to start with the lighter colour, sorry, and then work towards the darker, because the darker will obviously cover up the light a lot better than the other way around. So, but I think this is probably going to take a couple of coats. So it's not going on too bad, but I think it's definitely going to want a couple of coats. This is the trouble, is you end up with See there where I'm going over it, it's leaving, like, it's covering bits better than others. That's why I think it's going to take quite a few coats to cover this well. But we'll manage. So I think what I'll do is I'll give this a couple of coats of the of this off-white, and then we'll come back and see what it looks like. So this is what it looks like after the first coat, and here is the second coat, and this is the third coat. And honestly, I think I'm going to leave it there because the coverage is not bad, and despite me being as careful as I can, what it's starting to do is fill up some of the finer detail with paint. So I'm going to leave it like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mask off the underside, and then we can start on the top. Okay, so let's make a start on the top here, and I'm basically going to do the same as I did on the bottom. I'm going to start by doing the whole thing with the brown, and then go from there. I'm hoping this brown's going to cover a bit better than the white did, because otherwise we'll be here all night. The reason I'm doing it like this is because I understand that when they painted the aircraft at the factory, they actually painted the whole thing brown first, and then put the green on afterwards. So it just seems to me to be a sensible way to do it, so I should do the same thing. So what I'll do, as before, is I'll start painting it, put all the various coats on, and then we'll just have a look at it and see how we get on. Okay, so that's the first coat of brown, and as I suspected, it has covered a lot better than the off-white did. So that's good. It does need another coat, but I've actually had an idea. I'm going to try something, because if you've watched any of my videos before when I'm doing stuff like this, what I generally tend to do at this point is I will go back in with a lighter colour and like mottle the panels to kind of break up so it's not so uniform. And I've had people ask me many times, how can I get the same effect with a paintbrush? And to be fair, my response in the past has always been kind of, oh. But I thought this might be a good opportunity to try it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of this the white in with this brown to lighten it a bit, and then see what we can do. So let's try that and see how we get on. Right, let's see what we can do with this. So what I've done is, as I said, I've just mixed some of the tan in with the brown, and what I'm going to do, I might thin that a bit actually. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but we'll give it a go. And what I'm going to do is just kind of do this and just kind of dot it on. So same as the mottling we would do with the airbrush, but just obviously with a paintbrush. That doesn't look too bad, does it? So I'll do all of these panels, and it looks quite light going on, but as you can see here, as it dries, it darkens. So I'll do all these panels and then we'll come back and have a look and see the result. Right, so there it is after, I have no idea how long that took. It was a long time. My back's killing me, my neck's aching. I think I've got carpal tunnel syndrome. But anyway, it's actually worked. Of course, the question's going to be now, when we put the brown coat over the top, is all of this just going to disappear? But for now, I think that looks rather good. So let's put a brown coat on it and see what it looks like after that. Okay, let's put some more of this brown on and see what it comes out like. Alright. Not too bad. Right, let me go over the whole thing and then again we'll have a look at it and see what it looks like when it's dry. Right, well, I think that's come out rather well actually. I'm quite pleased with that. Yeah, very good. So now we need to do the same thing again with the green. So we'll do that next. Alright, now this is going to be the fun bit. So I've got the box in front of me and I'm going to go roughly by the design on there. So we'll do the same thing. This green is actually really thick, so we're definitely going to have to water this down, because otherwise it'll it's like, well, I say it's like tar. Right, so we go from there and then across to there, and then this bit is green. Yeah, I think this is really going to only need one coat by the looks of it. So yeah, that seems to be covering very well, even thinned down. Right, now that. Now this is where it starts getting fun, because we have to go along the wing and up onto the fuselage. Right, let me paint all these bits in, and then again we'll come back and see what it looks like. Right, while I've got the green out, I'm going to paint this canopy. What could possibly go wrong? Oh dear, it's bad enough doing these with a laser cut mask and an airbrush. But doing it like this is awful. My hands just really aren't steady enough for this anymore. But we will persevere. So this is probably going to take several coats to do this. So that'll be fun. Alright, well that's not terrible. Just let that dry and then do it another 2 or 3 times. Oh god. Right, now this one we just need to do the 2 ends. So that should be a little bit easier. I'm trying to keep this in front of the camera. I do apologise if I move it, but... Alright, and then down the side. So this one's not too bad because it's one of these things that this will be completely covered by the other piece, so you won't really see it. So now we're going to do the same with the green as we did with the brown. I'm going to lighten it up and then we'll mottle it as best we can. And then go back over it again. At least there's not as much to do this time. Brush. Oh, there we go. So again, I'll do the rest of this and then we'll come back and see what it looks like. Right, so there we go for the mottling on the green. I think that looks pretty good. And what I've also done is I've put the front and rear parts of the canopy on, and that's because when I go over it with the green, I want to get the joins where the canopy fits to the fuselage. So yeah, as before, we'll just go over it again with the green and blend it all together. Right, I think that looks rather good. Very pleased with that. So there was a bit of a gap there on the side of the canopy just here. So I basically I filled it with a bit of glue and then painted over it, and it's actually got rid of it quite well. So the next thing I think we need to do is put the decals on, and that's going to be fun using just water, no decal setter or anything like that. So we'll see how it goes. It'll work or it won't. So that's next. Now, decals. That's what we're doing next. And yes, I said decals and not decals. And if you don't like it, tough because I'm old and I'm set in my ways and I say Decals. So there. God, I'm turning into such a cantankerous old git. Anyway, enough of that. Yes, the Decals. Now, normally I would use a Decal setter and a Decal softener and all this kind of stuff. We're not using those on this, but we're going to try something. I had a little look around on Google and whatnot. Other search engines are available, and I found something interesting, and it was something I thought I'd seen before, and I wanted to double check it. But apparently, a lot of people have had a lot of success using this. This is distilled malt vinegar by Sainsbury's. Other vinegars are available. So yeah, this one, it just happens to be from Sainsbury's, but it's vinegar. And from what I've read, if you mix 1 part white vinegar, clear vinegar, with 10 parts water, it works as a Decal setting agent. Who knew? Apparently it has to be the clear stuff, not the brown vinegar. So I had this in the cupboard. So I've put some mixed in a suitable ratio, and I am using my little water bath for this, just, you know, because I can. But you could just use some warm water from the tap or from a kettle or whatever. And we are going to try this and see if it works. So let's get on with it. Right, let's see how this goes. Where does that need to go? Oh, stay there. Right, that needs to go a bit further forwards. Oh, yeah, I must admit it would be nice to have. Oh dear. Right, there's a little divot underneath that I've got to try and. Oh, that doesn't want to set at all. Let's wet the cotton bud and see if that helps. Oh, that's a little bit better. Oh yeah, wetting the cotton bud helped. I say that the problem is the wing is not really flat. There are little bits of, you know, in the moulding and that are stopping the decal from sitting flat, but that's not too bad. Let me work at this for a while, and then I'll see how well we can do with it. Do you know what? That's actually not gone on too bad. It's a bit shiny, obviously, but it's actually not terrible. So, yeah. I'll put the rest on and we'll see what it looks like. The fun ones are going to be the big ones on the side. They're going to be the nightmare, but I'll put the other ones on and we'll see what it looks like. Right, I thought you might like to see the big decals going on, because this is going to be this is going to be hilarious. So I'm using the overhead camera because, quite frankly, I don't think trying to do this with the point of view camera would even be possible. Right, where does that need to go? The blooming thing's all folded up. Just got to try and tease it back into shape. Right, it needs to go about there and off. Right, so we've got it on the side. Now we've just got to try and get it in place. Ugh. Right, let's get rid of that big drip of water. Unfold that bit, that's all folded over. Now what I've actually found doing the rest of these is it actually helps to kind of really soak it with the water, because the water then goes underneath it and it helps move it about, especially with a big one like this. So, but this is going to be an absolute nightmare. See, it just doesn't want to move. See, normally you can like float it on the decal setter and like keep it above the surface, but this just does not want to move at all. Oh, hang on, I think we're getting somewhere. Because basically what we want to do is we want to get it lined up with this line here. So now we've got all that water under it, we've now got to try and get it all back out again. But what I did with the other one, and it's actually not a bad idea, is once you've got it all lined up like that, where you've got all the film in between the letters and everything, it actually helps to go in with a really sharp blade and try and cut like all of this here. I don't know whether you can see that, but basically all of the sort of negative spaces are all filled up with a film. And what I want to try and do is just get rid of that if I can, because now I've got the lettering in place. We don't need it anymore. At least get rid of some of it. Like that, you see. Right, and now we should be able to get that to lay a lot flatter. Yeah, that's much better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all the rest of this out, and then we'll see what it looks like. Alright, well, that doesn't look too bad, does it? It's not great, but there's still a few little wrinkles I need to get rid of, but that's actually not that bad. I've got to put the other side on now. Oh, right, well that was fun. But they're all on. There we go. They're a bit shiny, obviously, because normally at this point I'd put a clear coat over them to seal them, but I can't really do that. So, but yeah, they look all right for what they are. So what I'm going to do is there's a few, obviously we've got to put a few extra bits on. We've got to put the back half of the cockpit on, the wheels, exhaust manifolds, propeller, just to show you actually before I put them on. What I've done, I painted these black, and then I just gave them a little bit of a dry brush with the off-white, the tan colour, just to, you know, pick up the highlights a little bit and make them slightly less monochromatic. And I did the same thing with the propeller. Again, just gave it a very light dry brush with the off-white, just to give it a little bit of paint chipping. I mean, it's not ideal, but it's better than it just being flat black. So I'll put all these bits on, and then I have a little bit of a surprise. So stay tuned. Right, so we've got all the decals on. I've put the wheels on, I've put the propeller on, exhaust manifolds. I've also put the rest of the canopy on, and I've put the door on as well. And I must say, I'm very pleased with how that's looking. I think that's looking very good. The decals, there is some silvering on them, but then I think that's to be expected, because obviously there's nothing to kind of blend them in with the rest of the like the matte finish on the aircraft. So yeah, we'll just have to deal with that, I think. What I'm going to do to try and weather this now, I've got here, this is a Mk1a 12 colour eyeshadow palette that I got from the pound shop. So let's get this open. How do you open this? Oh yeah. So it comes in this nice little, let's move that to one side for a minute. It comes in this nice little plastic box, and the only thing I think might be a slight issue with this is I think that a lot of these are actually got glitter in them, so they might be a bit glittery, but we shall see. Now I'm not going to use the applicator that they give you with it. I'm going to leave that in there, and the reason being is I've got loads of these applicators and I want to leave that one as it is. So I've got these, they're the same thing. I apologise for all the banging and crashing in the background. Somebody has decided it's a good time to let off fireworks, even though it's quite late in the evening and it's actually hammering down with rain, but whatever, let them get on with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of this, the darker one, and I'm going to try and put some exhaust staining on it. I'm just going to do a little tiny bit to start with because I want to see what it looks like. Where are my glasses? So we'll just do a little bit along here. Right, I need a bit more than that. I've never used this before, so I don't know how well it's going to work. Oh, there we go, we've got a little bit on there. That's not too bad. I'd say there is a little touch of glitter in it, but never mind, it'll be alright. Yeah, that's not bad. Right, let's do a little bit more. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's do the other side. Right, and we'll put a little bit on the guns as well. Just a little smidge. That's all right now. Let's get our brush. And what I want to do is just give it a little, just to get the sort of worst of it off. And also, I think that's actually getting rid of the glitter, which is quite useful. Yeah, that's actually brushing the glitter away, which is nice. Yeah, that's not bad, I'm very pleased with that. Right, let's do a little bit on the underside as well, because what I want to do is do some on the, because you've got these these holes here are where the empty cases fall out of the guns. So we'll just put a little bit on those as well. So we can always spread it out a little bit with the brush and everything. That's not bad, is it? Right, now I'm also going to do some other colours. Let's get another. By the way, this pack of sponges also came from the pound shop. I'm going to use this one here, and I'm going to use that to do some oil streaking on the underside. So in a few likely places. I'm very pleased with that. Right, now what I've also got is this other set, and oh, if I can get it out of the box. So this one is same brand, but this is like blusher, not blusher. I don't know. Well, I don't know what it is. Makeup's not my forte, I must say. Oh, but they're kind of face powders. So we're going to use some of these as well, because there's some really good kind of like earth tones in here as well. So I think we might need to do these with a brush, but I think the sponge will still work. So what I want to do is I want to just do some like light streaking on the wings and things, and also around the wheels, because it's like there's some of these are quite nice like dust shades and things like that. So oh, focus on the wheel. There we go. See, just a little touch. I don't know what you do with this stuff on your face, but it seems to work very well on the model. Let's see if I can knock the shine off of these decals a little bit. Oh, actually, that's kind of working a bit. Right, I think what I'll do is I'll do a bit more on this, and then I'll come back and we'll see what it looks like. And here is our finished article. I am surprised and pleased with how this has come out. It's the first time I've finished a model using just brushes for, well, I can't remember the last time I did. It was years and years and years ago. So I was quite pleased with how that came out. I think we've had a pretty good result, all things considered. It would have been nice to have been able to put something on to maybe reduce the the shininess of the decals a little bit, but that's not the end of the world. I think it just shows what you can achieve pretty much out of the box. So yeah, very pleased with that. Now, for the most important part of this, our little charity auction, because I am going to be selling this model on eBay, and the proceeds from that sale will go to Models for Heroes, a charity we have supported on the channel before, who provide models and related equipment to various armed forces charities and veterans charities up and down the country. A very worthwhile endeavour, I am sure you will agree. So not only will you get to support this fine charity and receive this handmade model, but you will also get the following. You will receive another Airfix 1/72 scale Supermarine Spitfire Mk1a, so that you may make your own version. You will also receive the brushes, the very brushes that I've just used on this build. And you will receive the 2 makeup sets. And just for the lols, I'm going to throw in that pack of sponges as well. So you will receive all of this and the model sent to you. And if you are in a country that is part of the eBay International Shipping Program, then you can basically bid on it from anywhere in the world. So, you've got no excuse now. Put your hands in your pockets and support a worthwhile charity. So, but in the meantime, hopefully you've enjoyed this little foray into the somewhat arcane art of painting a model with brushes. And I look forward to seeing you on a future video. Cheers. Bye.